Now, to me, one of the things I enjoy the most is your dialogue, your character's dialogue. It's just, I think it's interesting, it's entertaining, it's fun, it makes me laugh literally out loud when I'm reading some of your books. What's your secret with the dialogue?
Well, when I'm asked that, I say, well, don't you hear voices? Don't you hear people talking? You know, especially a writer who asks me that. I said, I hear people talking all the time. I'll hear a scene, two people talking that has nothing to do with the book I'm writing. And I'm wondering where it's going to go, you know. But it's just I can get into the rhythm of those voices and make it work. George Higgins helped me a lot with the Friends of Eddie Coyle, 1972, I think it was. My agent in Hollywood called and said, have you read it? And I said, no. He says, get it. And it simplified my writing in a way that I would get immediately into a scene without setting it up. People start talking, and you don't know where they are, but it doesn't matter because you'll find out soon enough, whether they're on the phone or in a hotel room or whatever. And also, it loosened me up in the kinds of language that they used, in obscenities, for example. Because I used to worry about my mother reading my books. And I'm 50 years old, and I'm worried about my mother, you know? Because she would always say, that only takes place in the bedroom. And I'd say, they are in the bedroom, you know? But she didn't understand.
That's great. We always worry about our moms, don't we?
Sure.
Let's go back to Hollywood for a second. You've had many of your novels and stories turned into television shows and movies. Do you enjoy that Hollywood experience? What's it been like for you?
No, I haven't enjoyed it. Even the good ones, even on the set of a good one, you're never sure. You're never sure if it's going to work or not, or if it's going to be changed later, or if that scene might be cut. So I look at it as a vacation. I'm just there to enjoy myself, if that's possible, you know. The ending, for example, of Out of Sight, it becomes George Clooney's scene, and he's talking to someone who gets aboard this little van that's going to take him off to prison, and this guy has escaped from 9 different prisons. So you end on that upbeat and Clooney thinks, okay, yeah, we're going to escape again, you know. And I said to the screenwriter, it's her book. And the federal marshal who's sitting in the front seat of this van, and he said it's her book, but it's his movie. So there you are. You can't get around that. You know?
No, I guess not. The star power of George Clooney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I believe I read that you did actually write a screenplay for one of your novels. Which one was that?
I've written many.
Oh,
many.
You have? Okay, so it's
and
more than
most
just
of them are bad. The one that I say now, yeah, it's okay, was a Charles Bronson picture, Mr. Majestic. And it came out, I think, in '73, and it's still paying me residuals. That is, it's still appearing somewhere. Maybe it's Japanese television where they're buying it, and I get 1.25% of the gross. So it can be $158, it can be $2,300. You never know what it is, and I'm still getting residuals on that.
Well, that was a great movie, and so you wrote that screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also read that you really don't enjoy the screenplay writing aspect because it's too much of a committee type of deal.
That's what it becomes, yeah. In '93, I wrote my last screenplay, and that was for Paramount because I hadn't worked for them before. And so I wrote one, and I think it's still sitting there on the shelf at Paramount. Billy Friedkin wanted me to write something. And so he and I got together and thought of an idea. And so I wrote it, but I wasn't real pleased with the screenplay. But in the screenplay, I can't, I'm tense about it. I can't be loose and just let it happen. And I begin to use adverbs in describing how they're saying this. And in my books, I never use an adverb, ever. Well, once in a while, but no ly adverb. You know?
Right. Loudly,
Yes,
happily,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
all that.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing I've noticed about a lot of your novels is there's a lot of musical references. Again, Be Cool being a prime example because it's about the music business.
Yeah, yeah.
Does music play a part in your novels because you love music, or you just feel like it really just does belong in there?
Well, it seems natural to me. If someone says something that sounds like a lyric to a song, then my main character, if he's there and hears it, he'll pick up on it and say something a little smart about it, you know. Continue the next line of the lyric.
Right, right. I saw a picture of you during the Be Cool tour, I think, online, where you were actually hanging out with Aerosmith.
Yeah, well, I met Aerosmith and saw them, 3 or 4 times when they came to Detroit. And the first time I met them, I said, "Do you want to be in a book?" And they all said, "Sure." So I wrote them into, what was it? It was Be Cool, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they came to the house one Saturday afternoon, sat around the pool drinking no alcohol beer. Yeah, that was fun.
I'll bet it was. Yeah, they played, Linda Moon played open for them in one of the scenes, I think it was in the LA Forum or something.
Yeah.
In Be Cool. Yeah.
And George Clooney's been to the house, you know, and of course all the girls flocked around him. You could barely see him.
You have written so many books and stories. Do you have a personal favorite of all the ones you've written?
The first one I think of is Freaky Deaky, and I'm not sure why. And Walter Matthau's son optioned it, Charlie Matthau, and he's trying to get it going. I'm not sure if he will or not, but I have hope for him. I think he must have friends in Hollywood that he can get a picture made.
I would think so.
And he has made one. But I like Freaky Deaky, and I'm not sure why, but it seems to work for me.